It was like a deep breath at the end of that. Like you had some very heavy release. But as always, welcome everyone. I am Daphne Emily.
And I'm Eerees.
And we are Soulful She.
We are two bodacious beauties from Brockton.
Unraveling our truth on identity, mental health, fashion, and I'm missing one. Identity, mental health, and empowerment. Through conversations from the soul. See, I play you every week and make you do this and be like, you should know, and look at me messing up. So, you got that.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yep. But we're here, so as we always start off with keeping it real quick.
Yeah.
And do you want to go in first? Do you want me to jump in?
Yeah, I can jump in. Keeping it real quick. For those that might be the first time listening, who's to know, keeping it real quick, we just let ourselves know what's been going on throughout the week, what's been going on throughout the day, what's been going on in our mind that has not allowed us to step away from that, and we're bringing into this space. And so keeping it real quick, I got a lot on my mind. I recently heard some news, not so fun news. I've recently been working through, bringing back my mojo. I feel like every single day I'm working on my mojo, but I think that this time around, it's been an interesting battle. I feel like every single day waking up, but not like a, I don't know.
You're pushing like everyone else, girl.
Basically. I actually was gonna tweet this, but then I decided not to tweet this because I don't know why, but I also felt like I didn't want that attention.
I will confirm or deny if I would have retweeted it. Go ahead.
I told myself, I was like, I think I need an Iris talk with Iris.
I would have, no, I wouldn't have retweeted that because then it would have been like, I'm telling Iris she really needs to talk to herself.
But it's more of like, the conversations that people seek me out to have. I was like, I really think that I need to make some time to
bring that energy to yourself.
Basically. Not saying that I don't do it, but more strategically. And so knowing that, a lot has been going on through my mind. And I definitely am taking all of that into this space, and
keeping it real quick. Honestly, I didn't have work today. One of the few vacations or holidays I have off. I keep calling it a vacation because I clearly need one. And I did absolutely nothing. And the time flew by today, which was the most frustrating thing because it's like the one day I have off, I'm looking at the time and it's like, how is it 3 p.m. already? Like my whole work shift is already over. Like now I'm already like the day's regular again and I'm gonna work again tomorrow morning, but didn't feel like doing my makeup, so all natural. So we'll see how I feel about how I look when I see the film after. Because I'm okay right now, but I already know I'm gonna watch this later. And if I'm okay with it, you might see a lot more of this more often. Because with COVID and doing makeup, I am just unaccustomed. I am just tired. I did my makeup Friday, and I think that was my limit for the week. My one day for the week. Unfortunately, Soulful She happened to fall after, and this is where we're at right now. Eyebrows need some work. I
hear you.
I just don't care right now. I be looking cute when I feel like it, and I still be looking cute even if I don't feel like it, really. But just no makeup today. Just trying to work on the skincare routine, though, because if we're trying to do this, we gotta still try to be kind of flawless. What else? Keeping it real. So I'm realizing I work the other job. I'm in shoes, platform shoes, heels. My feet are not for it.
Not for
platforms, and platforms that are like flat. Just not for heels, not for anything cage-like, confining, just like done. And I'm just thinking about it. I've just spent the last year, and many of us have spent the last year working from home, wearing our home slippers.
Yeah.
Our feet are flat on the floor and comfy.
Yeah.
I remember last winter before COVID. So the winter before COVID, I wore these black boots every day because I'm like, honestly, I don't have the energy. These boots elevate me to a certain point. So I wore those boots out. It got to a point I was like, this is embarrassing. Like my coworkers have to think something crazy. Like they must be be like, she don't own any other shoes.
Listen.
Matter of fact, I have too many.
Listen, shoes, not in my book.
So, like, wearing these shoes now, I'm like, yo, my ankles are just like, what is this? And now I'm realizing, like, I saw and thought about it, and I was like, the last year, my feet have been literally not confined and not accustomed to shoes. And I'm like, wow, what a difference COVID has made in so many ways to something as simple as wearing shoes.
Yeah.
That, like, I'm at this point that I'm like, how do I retrain myself, and do I even want to bother? And absolutely do, because I love shoes. But damn, going through this. So at this point, I'm like, I'm gonna have to wear some closed shoes during work, just to like,
while you're in your desk at home.
Because at this point, it's like, when things do go back to normal or whatever that's gonna look like, we're gonna be so tired and struggling when we get out of this hump. We're so ready to get to the streets, but it's gonna be like 8 p.m. We're gonna be like, all right, guys, like, my back is like hurting, my shoulders, like, I was holding one cup the whole night and my arms just cannot, you know, like, I just feel like we're gonna.
She said.
See, you're laughing, but I really believe the fatigue is gonna be so real when it comes to us being out here. We're gonna go so hard and crash about July, depending on how things open up.
Yeah,
we're gonna crash and be like, you know what, we're staying inside this summer because I'm tired. But that's how I feel. That's me keeping it real right now, and that's how I've been feeling. My clothes fit me like crap. I'm back in the gym. We didn't talk about that. Someone went to the gym with me, and she went more than once, and she's continuing. We're going tomorrow, so shout out to Eerees.
I got a membership. You know.
She did leg day like we did. She did cardio and abs like we did. She felt the soreness, but she still came back.
Yes. I need it. I feel like, specifically with everything that we've been talking about, fatigue, you know, all of that jazz, I think that going to the gym, I used to be a gym person, but I used to be an exercise person. So, like, I was out here swimming, I was out here playing volleyball, I was out here doing softball, like, I did it all, and I had the endurance, and I knew I had the endurance to really push myself in ways that I know I can. And so, like, knowing that I have that ability and I just need to retrain myself, and also within exercising, you get more energy. Like, I need more energy. I need it.
Yeah, I was struggling the last time because we were doing some lunges that I just could not. My legs don't hurt right now, though. How are your legs?
I'm fine. I think right now with just my back, because the membership that I have, they have classes, and
did you go to one?
I did. Oh. So I went to a yoga class, but I went to the yoga class because I know the instructor, Charlene, who we've mentioned before, Mocha Wellness. She is actually in the Crunch of Brockton, and so I was like, bet, like, I'm gonna support you because I know you and I love yoga, and this can be Sunday because we're not working out. This can be my way of like
relieving the pain,
exactly, and stretching it out.
Yeah,
girl.
I saw her post and I heard it's not one of those
like,
yoga classes.
Literally, she was just like, yeah, no, like I spoke to the people in Crunch and they were like, no, we don't want yoga, we want a workout. So it needs to be a yoga workout. When I'm telling you, she had us like pulsing and just like, I was just like, she was laughing at me while we were in class, because I was like, Charlene, this is what we doing?
You're like, this is not what I came here for. Like, I thought I was getting a break.
And there was one point she was like, okay, now lift the legs. I was like, huh? And she's just like, you got this. I was like,
so I definitely feel the post she put up related to you, because she posted like a selfie and she wrote something about like the yoga class, and she was like, this is not your typical yoga class. Like, and I saw that and I was like,
I wonder.
But I didn't, well, now I know, but I was just like, I wonder if that's a class now I want to take. Is it like, so you confirmed? Yeah. I would still love to go. Like, I work, yes. But
there was definitely spaces in the routine where you were able to breathe and able to stretch, but because of the way that they told her, like, it needs to be a workout. And then I really thought about it. I was like, yoga on its own is a workout. So like, she could have definitely played with that if she really wanted to. But
she gave you a good workout, so that's what really matters.
Yes, so I worked out on Sunday.
Hey, look at you. So only one day off, only today.
Yeah.
You got back in the groove. You had, I was watching. I was like, you're keeping up with us. You're over here like.
I'm trying.
We
I complain.
We're trying. Yeah, she does. She'd be like, we do one workout and she's like sitting on the floor. So one time I'd be like, stand up. I was just like, stand up. And I was just like, okay. But it does feel good to be back in the gym. I just am not so patient right now with it, with my body. I need to be more patient in the process and allow myself to keep going to the gym, to stay motivated and not expect these results so quickly. But it's just so frustrating because it doesn't matter how much less I'm eating or how much healthier. My body is just kind of stuck in this plateau and I just need it to change. So I'm patient one day, I'm annoyed another day. I wore this outfit Friday that by the pictures, I'm like, I don't like this at all. So, but I'm okay. This is keeping it real right now.
Yeah, we definitely kept it real for a good chunk of time.
I mean, that's how I feel.
But I will say, going back to your talk about like, you know, not really caring about how your face looks and all that jazz. Like, I remember there was one point in time when I decided that I was gonna go back into the dating world, but it was COVID. And like, I think that I stopped doing my eyebrows. I stopped caring about any and everything. Like, my armpits were chilling. My legs were like,
oh yeah,
we hairy and we don't care. And like, I remember one time I went on a date, and when I tell you, like, I gave no fucks, like no fucks whatsoever. Literally my body, and I was literally in my head, I was like, if you don't want me, you don't want me. But I will say the guys that I did end up talking to that stayed around, like,
they don't care.
They didn't care. Listen, they didn't care.
Girl, ain't nobody, where are we going that we over here shaving our legs, like shaving our armpits? Last weekend, I was like, I work and do I want to wear I was like, no, I'm not shaving. We're just going to find the appropriate shirt. Like, that's the mindset right now. Like, all this extra, I'm just...
Cover it enough.
Sometimes I'll be in the gym with a short sleeve shirt and I'd be like this. I'd be like, oh, girl, well, we're already here.
Y'all is seeing it all.
Well, I'm not here to be here. I'm not here for y'all, so...
That's the thing. Literally, in my mindset, it's just like, I don't need to look cute for you.
I don't care either.
My grandma would not be happy at all. My grandma would be like, you don't know where you're going to meet your next husband. You don't know who
clearly
you're gonna
not the gym.
But just like, she's the type of person that, like, if she's just going to CVS and CVS is like 3 blocks, she's putting on every single thing. She's putting on the lipstick, and the lipstick needs to be bright red. Her nails need to be painted. Her scarf needs to match her earrings. Like, she needs the whole 9 yards to make sure that she's stepping out the house. So, like, if she ever saw me stepping out the house...
Well...
I love you, Grandma.
This is where we at right now. I'm not even sorry.
I didn't say sorry.
Right. But I guess from keeping it real quick, because we've been keeping it real. I mean, we can go on this for a long time, really, because at this point, honestly, I'm just tired. But from keeping it real quick, we step into conversations from the soul.
Yes. And I wanted to... So just a little more, I've definitely been feeling all sorts of emotions, and it's weird because it's like, there's times when I'm super happy, there's times when I'm super grateful, there's times like, there's so many emotions that are going on, but also being mindful that you can be simultaneously feeling a little down and at the same time being happy about something else. And so I wanted to bring this segment up of just how do we muster the strength and self-confidence?
After we talked about not shaving and not... Yeah.
Facts. And I wanted to bring it up just because I feel like I've mentioned this before, but I definitely work with tarot. And one of the things that I do for myself is I do tarot not because I need the gods to tell me, you know, the message of the week, but rather how am I listening to my inner self? Because I use tarot. This is just some context really quickly. I use tarot to really continue to have a conversation with my intuition and myself through the cards. Because at the end of the day, the cards are not magical. They all have the same type of like symbols, the same 72 cards, 78 cards. But you will always associate something that's going on with you at the moment when you see something or when you hear something. And so therefore, that is when you continue to have the conversation that you've already been thinking about or have been like pondering with yourself with these cards. And so today, I definitely was feeling a little down, and I was just like, okay, Eerees, what is going on? And how can you continue to like reflect on the day? And the strength card came out. The King of Wands and the Knight of Wands. And all those cards, specifically the Strength card and the King of Wands, all speak to strength and confidence, specifically self-confidence. All of these things that are things that need to be worked on within self to remind yourself of your confidence and your inner strength. And so I was just like, it was a beautiful message that I needed reminding of, where it's just like, we all have strength within, but like, where is it and how does it come about? We all can muster up self-confidence in the ways that we've kind of mentioned it in the keeping it real quick, but what is it, what external things and what internal things have allowed to help you during these times or just throughout life, where to continue to work on the strength within and then the self-confidence that you already beautifully possessed.
Oh, and and I'm going into this.
We'll both.
Okay, because
and so I guess one of the ways that you obviously can see for me, I think that reflection is always something. So reflecting is really big, and I feel like with the cards, with the tarot cards, it really allows me to self-reflect on myself and reflect on what's going on in my mind. Because again, like, I see the cards and it's not like I am hearing, you know, who's to say the spirits tell me A, B, C, but rather like, what internally am I thinking about? What internally is coming up for me and or for someone else that allows me to look at this card and associate it in a way that will help me with my development and my reflection. So I would say for me, finding strength and finding self-confidence really is about encouraging myself and reflecting on what I already have. So I think that using the tarot cards, reading and specifically journaling have been really big for me when it comes to finding inner strength and also finding the self-confidence, because I think that ultimately and intuitively, we always have the answer. I will always say this, and I will continue to say this. We always have the answer. We always know what is right to do or what we should be doing. It's more of like, are we listening? Are we listening to ourselves? And so journaling and tarot really helped me listen to myself, to find, to listen to myself, to remember that like, I got the strength already. You know, like, do I have moments when, you know, somebody might, you know, get me off track or something might get me off track? Yes. But just remembering that like the strength is already within and the confidence already exists within myself. It's just reminding me that it's there. But yeah.
Strength for me is always, I don't know, it's like I'm not gonna say weird. I was gonna say weird for me, but for me, I've always felt this strength in, regardless my demeanor. I think always knowing that I have a specific face that like is not the most presentable sometimes to people. It comes off sometimes looking angry, whatever. But for me, it's always been like being a very tall woman, having this demeanor. I've been in spaces a lot of times where people just kind of don't provoke or approach me. But for me, I've learned through getting older and finding the confidence that strength, that demeanor is strength for me, because it's not allowing people to break through that I don't necessarily need to break through. And that if someone really wanted to get to know me and really has the decency to want to get to know someone outside of just their appearance, then cool, like I let them in. But I love my height. I've had people try to tell me I can't wear heels. I love my height. I love my demeanor. I love my build. So for me, that makes me feel very strong, because I guess I appear strong. And that just supports me mentally in thinking that like I hold this body, I hold this demeanor, and I carry myself in such a way that like even within and thinking about it, I know I have my strength. I know the strength I have when it comes to that. I don't take it as a negative at all. And I love, especially when it comes to like, for example, my height. I love my height, and I love even being taller with certain shoes, because for me, it's beautiful. I think seeing like a tall person or a tall woman walking by and she's just flowing, it's just, there's a grace to it that is, to me, beautiful. So for me, when I walk into a space, I feel it. Or like knowing this, I know I'm gonna walk to a space, there are gonna be people that are gonna look at me like, God damn, she's tall. But there's gonna be people that just naturally see me as just this kind of
goddess,
statuesque kind of person coming in. And even if people don't perceive that, I feel it. I don't get like I'm a tall, whatever, giant kind of vibe. I get statuesque. I get goddess-like. That's when I'm in my bag, I'm feeling goddess. I'm feeling my hair is out. I'm walking and I create the wind. You know what I mean?
I love it.
It happens. Like sometimes I'd be walking in the mall and I just be like, I feel the breeze walking by. And that's because of my long strides, of my long, beautiful legs.
Go ahead.
But that's things that I've grown to learn. I mean, I've had people before. I was at the mall when I was like a teenager and I wanted to try on these heels, and this lady was like, sweetie, those shoes are beautiful, but like you have to leave those for the short girls, because you know, girls like you don't need the heels. And I was just like, all right, well, let me continue to buckle the shoes on, because like, but I've been raised so much that like I grew, not only was I'm tall, but I grew so quickly. So like in middle school, I was already taller than everyone. So like I've never felt a sense of like I'm embarrassed for this because I'm already here. It really felt good to be like playing basketball with the guys and like they cannot get around me whatsoever. And I used to be like, that's right. That's because this height right now, like you can't even move, like you can't even throw the ball because you can't even see over me. I'm that shadow, you know what I mean? So for me, it's like I did have to go to love it. I had a lot of people make comments. So for me, when I'm just walking somewhere, my first thought in terms of strength for me is the demeanor. And then I always say, look good, feel good. So when I'm the most presentable self, the self that I'm feeling the best in, because I don't do it for people, I do it for me. But I know,
as it should be.
I know that when I'm feeling like I'm looking good, I know people agree. So like for me, it's like I feel good. I'm ready to be out there. I'm walking, I'm flowing. I'm already feeling like this beautiful energy when it comes to it. And that energy is a strength for me. I feel like it gives me power. I feel like it automatically gives me confidence. So for me, that kind of sense of how I appear for myself is where I first get that strength from. But stepping from that and knowing like I do have this demeanor, but also knowing that like I'm not a mean person. Like some people may disagree, but I'm not a mean person. I like to be a sweetheart. I'm very respectful, or I try my best. I mean, I don't even have to try to be respectful. I'm respectful. I'm nice. So for me, it's knowing that I do have this demeanor. I do present myself this way. I am this way, but I'm actually very nice to people. And then outside of that, just knowing I'm also really smart and I can hold a conversation. So for me, that's one thing that I've learned that like over time, there's things people can say about me that can make me kind of second guess myself. But what no one's ever second guessed about me has been my mind. like if someone said something to me to try to make me feel stupid, I only get upset at them really trying. Because for me, it's like I really understand that like I know my worth in this. I know the intellect I have, and I know how smart I am. And I might not have all the answers. I might not be a genius in certain aspects, but I know I can hold my own when it comes to certain conversations and many conversations. And like no one can come up to me and make me feel less than when it comes to my mind. Yeah. And that's where my optimal strength comes from and power comes from, because I feel like I can be in a space and never feel like I'm less than because of my mind. Yeah. You can degrade me for being a woman, you can degrade me for being black, you can degrade me for being tall, anything, but like whatever to that, but like my mind, you don't have, it just doesn't break through to me. Like you can't make me feel stupid. The only thing is you can try to touch that topic. We're just gonna finish this acknowledging who's the actual stupid person in the room. And it'll never me. It's never me. And it's just knowing that I have a wit to me and I have the banter. So for me, my strength really comes from knowing my mind and the confidence that's been instilled in me that like my mind is my power. I can look like whatever, but I can, whoever I'm speaking to, wherever I'm at, this comes into play. Like ain't nobody breaking through to me to make me feel any less. I do have my self-conscious days, not when it comes to my mind, but more the frustrations of how to use it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm in a space where I'm still trying to figure out what my purpose is or what I want to do. So I get frustrated with myself in that sense, because I know I have the mind to kind of put things forth, but what specifically? How specifically? Am I putting anything forth? Yeah. So for me, like that's where that kind of thing comes into play. So like I might feel self-conscious in the sense that I feel like I know I can do more. Why am I not doing more? You're already doing a lot though. But it's like, just sometimes it just never feels like enough, and I know that's something that I just have to learn and work on. And as many people, a lot of us feel this way. It's just like the more we do, it seems like it's not enough. I just know I'm so much more capable, and that's where my fight is. Just being like, I'm capable, but what's holding me back? And if something's holding me back, why? And if nothing's holding me back, also why? It's just more of accepting that, also giving myself room to breathe. Girl, yes. Say that out loud. One more time. Giving myself room to breathe, because I think a lot of times it does come into play where like being so frustrated, being in this moment and wanting more and doing better, that it's just like, it's okay to just sit down and just be. Yeah. And then those things will come to you and you will figure it out. But yeah, strength for me has always been my stature, my womanhood, my intellect. And I've gotten that from the women in my family, from my mom, from my grandmother. And I also got it from my dad, who's very big on women in the sense of like, I love women that hold their own. Yeah. And I would defend women to the death of me from men who think that women can't be anything they want to be. So my dad's never been someone that's like, you can't wear this. He's never been someone that like a woman can't be in this space. He's always been like, he's always told me since I was younger, why don't you try to do politics and become the president of Cabo Verde? I'm like, I don't want to be the president of Cabo Verde. Like I don't, and he gets like frustrated with me because he's like, you're capable of it. Like that's the kind of man he's been when it comes to me and my sister. When we're rashing somebody, he'd be like, that's on you. You put yourself in that position. Like he's always been that way. And then my mom's the type of person that I just seen her in spaces where she just cleans out people, and I just be like, I'm just not gonna talk because she's gonna take me out too. So like, I'll be collateral damage. I'ma just be right here. She's handling business, and she can take on anyone. I've never seen my mom afraid of anyone. And so for me, it's just having those two around me that like when I come into these spaces, like I just don't feel that people can really break through to me in a sense to break me down. So I guess my self-conscious issues that come in don't come from people. Okay. They come from myself. And I always feel strength in the dressing thing because that's something I've gotten from my mom. She's always been like dressed to the T. Like I was ordering online for her when ordering online started. And like from there just built the monster that I am now, and having like knowing all these websites is not from nowhere. Like I go to her, I was like, Daphne, I need variety. Give me some websites. And I'm just like, I pull up my phone right now. I can give you about 20. And I'm like, but what are you looking for? I can name like 5, you know? Different. But for me, it's just the strength is really knowing that, is really growing to knowing the strength I have when it comes to my mind and how I carry myself, and not allowing other people to break through to that. I think my self-consciousness comes into spaces where I'm in a large space with people. I just want to be in a corner, but I'm learning and gotten to the point that I'm like, no, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be in the middle. It's really awkward being in the middle. And like, even like the event we went to Friday, like people being like, come here, and I'm like, no one else is out here. Like, I always like kind of double back because I don't like that attention. But I got to the point I was like, fuck it, I'm here, let's do this. My subconsciousness comes into play afterwards, where I'm like, what did I even do? Like, I was all, you know, like I'm all in this space, I'm all out here, and now I'm just like, I had no control at that, or I had control, but I was so out there with people that now I'm just like,
what was that?
You know, I let so much of myself out, and I don't like that sometimes. That's why I like my corner, because I'm just like in my zone, in my place. So if anyone's breaking that seal into my corner, it's because I'm allowing you to. Yeah. And we can vibe, but like me allowing myself to be open and friendly and talkative and like things like that, afterwards I'm just kind of like, that was a lot of me that I offered out there. So I kind of get self-conscious in that sense. But I don't know, I think at this point, getting closer to, 30 in a few months, when it comes to self-consciousness, is accepting that everyone has it. Yeah. Everyone has things that they don't love about themselves. Everyone has things that they always want to work on. So just accepting that I'm not the only person. And at this point in my life, I'm almost 30. It's like, honestly, take me or leave me for what I am. I'm just accepting of what matters to me the most is my opinion of myself. And right now it's pretty good. Hey. I have my days, but it's never like discouraging myself and being like, I'm not good enough. I've been it, so I know that. I think people might say I lean more towards arrogance, which is okay, because I'd rather be arrogant than insecure and fall for things from people. I'd rather people perceive me as an arrogant person. Yeah. Because I think that's just a perspective that's placed on people that just know their worth. I know there can be some really arrogant people. Yeah. I think I play into that arrogance for the jokes, but I also very much agree with it. Like, when I say I'm it, I mean it. Period.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Like, you're right. I know. But for me, like, from what you were saying in terms of strength, I think we play into strength in different ways. Definitely. I think keeping the vibe of pushing my strength forward is something I'm working on, and kind of like, how do I keep working on this and reminding myself? But I just know that I've never double backed on who I am as a person, or how I'd allow people to break that. I think I'm like most of us, like, ourselves are our biggest enemies at times. Girl. So for me, only me can do me dirty when it really comes down to it. And then after I get through that phase, I just pick myself up, get myself dressed up, and I'm like, well, let's go outside.
And be the baddie.
Let's go stomp it out, create this wind, and flourish. And flourish under this sun that only makes me glisten like no other. So
listen, now the motto or hashtag that I will continue to have now is, let me go make this wind, like Daphne said.
I mean, if you walk just right, it doesn't have to be too fast or too slow, but just the right stride, all of a sudden this breeze just captures you. Yeah. And your hair, you know how the models be doing, their hair just be flowing. I don't need the Beyonce fan. I create it, okay?
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because of the confidence that you have, and I'm loving it. Because, girl, I feel like,
but yeah,
when you specifically spoke on your mind, I was just like, yes. Because I feel like every single time that we are in a space and it's time for Daphne to talk, like, I have nothing to worry. And when I know that she needs to put somebody in check, I'm just like,
not much left to say after that.
So, like, I completely agree of your mind just being out of this world, but also being able to handle it and have such I don't want to say the word is control, but rather rhythm and balance. with your mind, that you are able to use it so strategically to be able to say the things that you need to say and say the things that you want to say. And so when you said that, I was just like, yes, 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 and yes.
And also learning that with my mind and thinking, growing up with the sense of being so honest now, that honestly, when it comes to me, like, I don't have to say everything. And I've learned that there are people that just don't deserve it, don't deserve the explanation. And it's just be like, all right, cool, we good, move on. Like, it's just more of a thing that, like, who deserves to get checked will get checked. Who doesn't deserve my energy at all, because I'm living and being happy. So, like,
that's strength.
That's been a process to learn, because I've always been the type that, like, I always believed since I was a teenager that the truth can hurt, but I would rather be hurt by my own truth than not tell it at all.
Okay.
But I've also learned that there are truth tellers out there that only do it because they can, and not because it's prevalent, not because it is bettering anything, not because it has any weight, just because they can. Okay. And sometimes your voice is not needed in every situation, and I'm learning that. I don't need to make a comment over everything. There's spaces for people to do what they're doing, and that's their business. Me, I handle mine. If anything comes up and I have to say something, I will. But always understanding that not everyone deserves that energy from me. And I've learned that people seek that when they know really, like, truly know me. Yeah. I think that people that know how I am and want to provoke me will provoke that. And I've learned that they don't get that. They don't deserve that.
They know that button can be clicked, so they'll look for it in any way possible.
And when they try, and I know that's what they're trying for, I'm just like, all right, well, I ain't got nothing for you, like I haven't had for you before, so you can keep pushing buttons. Yeah. Or you can keep wasting your time. I'm not gonna waste mine.
I will say that when it comes to strength within for myself, I think also, like, knowing when and when not to speak was also something that I learned very early on, just because I sometimes am the quiet person, but it's not because I don't want to speak, but rather I don't feel like it's necessary for me to speak at that moment. And also, I remember when I was working for the first time, and at first I was not speaking because I was shy and I was scared, and working adultism also comes into play, so like not feeling comfortable being able to speak to authority, different things of that nature come up. And I've really felt that within myself, like intuitively my heart would burn and my stomach would burn when I knew I needed to say something and I wasn't saying it. And so, like, that really helped me also fully understand, like, there's a time and place to talk. And I've really come to listen to my body in that way, where it's like, okay, if my body, not only like if my body is doing that, but I could already sense when it will do it, so that I'm doing it even before like my body's already sensing it. So I think intuitively I've learned to remind myself that, like, yes, being quiet, like being an observant person is good, but also speaking your truth and speaking what you think is really necessary is also necessary. But I'm also mindful of, like, knowing when to do it, because, like, I knew that before I didn't take up a lot of space, and I still don't try to take up a lot of space, but at least I know when it's necessary to take up space. And I definitely learned that with my body. Like, I remember there was this one retreat that I had at work, and there was so much back and forth going on, like, you know, how we're gonna structure the whole organization and how we're gonna do A, B, and C. And, like, I was the youngest one in the room, so, like, I didn't even feel comfortable speaking up at that moment. But I remember, like, they were just, like, in a pickle of, like, figuring out what was gonna happen. And, like, in my head I was just like A, B, and C. And literally I was just like A, B, and C. And then, like, they would talk about it or talk around it, and they would get so close to A, B, and C, and I'm just like, y'all got this, like, y'all almost there. And I'm just, like, quiet. And I remember at one point my body was just like, Eerees, like, my body was, like, flaring up. It was getting hot. It was just like, Eerees, you need to say it. Like, stop stop, just say it. And I was just like, literally, I was just like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh my gosh. And I was just like, y'all really didn't see this? But in my head, it was common sense. But obviously, just because I see it in my head, it was as common sense, doesn't mean that everybody else does. And like there I was working more on like, okay, Iris, speak up because what you need to say is important.
Yeah. Strength, yeah. I think for me, it's just like, I just already give off this or elude the strength look or the strong look that I don't have to try too hard. And for me, it's just once I own that, I know that like, I just don't let people break through to me in certain ways that like will affect me, knowing that like, I just can be the simplest form of me. I can just be chill as hell and people will just not bother me.
Yeah.
And for those that want to bother, we know how to handle that. And other than that, it's just really understanding my worth is the bottom line for it. I think just knowing your worth and who you are and what you're capable of is the ultimate strength for me. And I think that's the ultimate power I can have in any space.
Yeah.
That people just don't bother you when they know. I think people, or the worst of people, will nitpick and, you know, bother another person knowing that they can.
Yes.
Knowing that they can break through and manipulate, knowing that they can walk all over someone. And I think that I already don't come off with that.
Yeah.
So people don't try. And then for those who do, we just nip it in the bud from the beginning so we know, like,
it ain't happening here. We
can all get along as long as we're just honest and fair and real about it. We don't need to play games. We don't need to manipulate. We don't need to do any of these things. People can just be people. We can get along, get whatever work we need to get done. And that's simple as that. And for me, the strength in knowing that, like, I carry myself this way, that the bullshit just doesn't need to be here.
Yeah.
We're good. Just don't bring that in here, because if it is, I'll handle it. And I've learned to be very accepting of, I used to hate confrontation, never used to be one to speak up on it. Never. I would be the most afraid. And I'm like, you're the biggest one in this room and you're afraid of everybody. So once I've learned that, I'm just like, I've never been in a physical altercation in my life. I've really never really been in arguments like that, unless it was like a sibling. Like,
yeah.
I don't have to. And the little ones that I've been in, it's just been like, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have to be all that. I just think people get that I can go there if it has to, but I don't want to. I don't need to.
Yeah.
I just like for people to get along. I like to be in, like, Friday was a room of people just getting along, having fun, vibing, and then just celebrating a friend's birthday and not having it to be anything other than that. So for me, it's just, that's how I feel in those spaces, or trying to get more comfortable and with being with a lot of people. It's just like, I'm just here to have fun and get along with everyone, and compliment who I can in the process, and be free and happy and loving to everyone. So
I will say it's definitely easier said than done.
Absolutely.
Because I will say, specifically with self-confidence with myself, I definitely did struggle with that a lot when I was younger, and I still do. And I always have to remind myself of my worth, because, like, I'm a mighty ass person. I just be forgetting.
There's spaces we'll be in, and I'm like, you can do all the talking, because you checking everybody. I'm just like, I'm just here.
But it like, I feel like there's moments when it comes out and I'm just like, bam. And then there's moments that I'm just like, why am I overthinking this so much? Mm-hmm. Why am I overanalyzing these things so much? Why am I giving this energy when, like, I shouldn't even be thinking about these things? And I definitely will say, when it comes to self-confidence, it has definitely been a battle. And it's weird because I never grew up as the type of person that, like body-wise, weight was never something huge, even though, like, when it came to my mom, she always made clear and made certain to, like, let me know that, like, by the age that you were 18, you know, I was 100 and, like, I was 110 during that time. So, like, there was always that comparison, but I never felt like I was fighting. Like, I never felt, I guess I was certain of my worth within my own body. And it's weird because I've always felt that way, but I haven't been able to feel that way with the rest of myself in such worthiness that I felt with my body. And it's definitely weird, and it's definitely different. Because again, just the same way that I said, like, you can have days where you're feeling really good, at the same time also feeling really down about other things. It's just like, how is it that I can contain this self-confidence and this worthiness so that regardless of what is happening in the world, what is happening in front of me, I am not allowing it to be doubted, if that makes sense.
I think for me, it's kind of similar and opposite, or the reverse from you. I was always the bigger person. You know, coming from a family of islanders, they're all size 0-0. You know, my sister came here to the US when she was 13 and I was 10, and my clothes were big on her. And for me, it's just from such a young age, they always had something to nitpick about me, but never controlled how I ate. Because, you know, with how my family was, they put your plate of food, you are not leaving this table until you're done eating.
Every single grain.
So it's like that played into my weight gain, because you would feed me all this food and I couldn't leave. And I even with church, so I was in 3rd grade, I was in CCD, and I don't know why this stuck with me. I don't know why it stuck with me, but the teacher was basically like talking about sins and like saying throwing away your food is a sin. Oof. And I don't know what about that stuck with me, that it took a long time to get over the guilt of not eating a whole plate of food till the very end, because how guilty I felt throwing away food. So like that stuck with me, on top of them making me have to sit and finish all my food. And then also, like, my mom worked so much that she would buy whatever. And so I would eat whatever's in the house. I'm a kid. I don't know how to control. I don't know what's bad for me, what's good for me, all that. So like I gained weight. Yeah, I gained weight. And then for me, it was just really frustrating because I would hear comments from them, but they wouldn't do anything. And even as I got older, whenever someone came from CV, it'd be like, you gained weight. Oh, you gained weight. Every time I see you, you've gained weight. So like for me, my weight has always been on my mind. I don't think I've ever gone through a point where my weight has not been something for me. Yeah. I mean, Daphne in high school, I am so sorry I did not appreciate your body as much as I did. I seriously, I thought I was the ugliest, the fattest person ever. And now I'm here and I'm like, I will take that back any day. And just knowing that I was just raised in a sense of always being the big one, the fat one. So like that was always my issue, but I didn't phase that into my strength. Yeah. I just accepted the reality of always having to be the fat one and always going to be the biggest one, that like, whatever, I'm still gonna grow into myself in a way that whatever that is, it's gonna have to fit into my life. I still struggle with it. I still struggle when it comes to my weight, but I've just gotten to a point where it's like, I've learned what to do for myself, because with my culture and growing up and gaining weight, once you're older, you have to fix it. So now I got older, I have to fix the weight gain that I had since I was a kid. That I was nurtured into. So like I had to learn all these things that now like I'm always having to fight and break these down. But my weight has always, I mean, I remember I was 10 years old and I guess my aunt watched Jerry Springer. In that episode they had like the biggest people in the world. And I overheard her telling my mom that, you know, I see Daphne eat dinner, and then I watched that and I'm just thinking, how is she gonna look in 2 years? Oh my God. So like I heard that at 10 years old. So like for me, I hated my body at that point. It was just so conflicting, because like they would make me wear things that I would never want to wear because I was uncomfortable with my body. Yeah. But like also whisper about my weight, but then also feed me. So just that whole circle of it all really did mess me up into growing up. But I think I've learned to kind of be like, this weight thing is always going to be in the back of my mind, but I'm not going to give it the power that I used to. Yeah. So it does not play into me being in a space like, I'm not standing in a space like, let me suck in all of this and all, like, at the end of it, like I'll see a picture and I'll hate it. I'm like, I'm just not going to post it, but it's never going to be like, oh, look at how fat, like I've never, I've just learned I'm bigger, naturally bigger bodied, and I love my curves. And at this point, my weight will be in the back of my mind, but I am okay with that. And I don't let it play into my strength. I will have those days that I'm self-conscious. I'll wear something and be like, damn, this didn't work out how I wanted. But I think that's normal for everyone.
Yeah.
But just for me, knowing that my strength does not come from that, or it doesn't deter from my strength.
Yeah, yeah.
That space, I know what it is. I know why I have that issue. I know why it's in the back of my mind, because I grew into that. But it's not taking up space in my life where I'm letting it affect me in a way of letting people get to me, or letting me really be hard on myself in that sense. So
that's what is the insecure growth.
Growth, yeah, growth. I mean, it took a lot, and I've gone through phases, but I've learned. It's interesting now because, like, I'll talk to people, and then we'll kind of get into that topic of food and like your youth and all that stuff, and I just start realizing, like, oh yeah, this had happened to me in my life.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell certain people that I care about, like, that I allow into that space, and they're like, whoa. And I'm like, honestly, at that point, I just thought it was a me thing.
Yeah.
But now that I've grown out of it, it's like easier to talk about, easier to express, but then it makes more people understand certain things about me. So that's why if you see me with a jacket, mind your business, even if it's hot. Because sometimes I'm just, this is where my comfort level is right now. But it's just,
let me be.
Yeah, and I get people are like, you're beautiful, and I know. But I have my days where this is how I'm going to be comfortable. So how about we make sure I stay in a good mood and stay in my comfort. And this is what's going to be today. And then next time we'll work on that crop top. But just for now, not today. But just knowing that it doesn't play into my character as a person and how I move forward in life.
Yeah, because that's you are coming to terms with, you came to terms with, this is what happened to me, this is the path that I was in, and you've really, like, touched on the nuggets of why it happened, but it's not deterring you, nor is it stopping you from being the flawless woman that you are today.
Yeah.
And this is beautiful. I like it.
Thank you. And also those aunts that had shit to say.
How are they looking right now?
You know, they be gaining and they be losing the weight. And I just realized it's a struggle for women in general when it comes to weight.
Yes.
So it's at this point that, like, even at my age, like, the older you get, the harder it is. And our hormones play a huge part into it.
Girl.
That, like, I can't always be mad at my weight. Like, my body does what it wants to do, and I just have to do my best to keep it healthy. And right now, it's not so much about the weight, but about being healthy. Because by the time I'm in my 50s and 60s, I want to be able to easily bend down and touch my toes. Or if I'm quickly getting up and grabbing something, I'm not pulling my back. Like, those are my goals. It's not about, I'm capable. I'm very grateful that I can walk, I can run, I can do all these things that many people don't have the opportunity to do. But my worry is being healthy and doing the best for me now, so I have longevity. And if I'm living long, that I'm also healthy and not sitting and can't do much. Because at that point, what's the point? So for me, it's just really being healthy, taking care of myself, that my weight is what it is. I lose it, I gain it. As long as I'm healthy, that's it.
I will say, when it comes to that statement, you said, like, taking care of myself. I think that for me, I feel the most self-confident and the most strength within when I'm actively, like, just on my lane, taking care of what I need to do, and really focusing on what development and what ways am I growing, learning, and exploring for myself. Because I feel like there's been moments in time when I'm just like, I can be lost and explore something, and, you know, we'll have a statement that someone's like, oh my gosh, like, you know, it's speaking to my character or what they're seeing, and it's just like, oh, I'm just exploring, growing, figuring out myself, and it comes naturally. And I think that that's something that, like, I feel like I see all over the place in the sense of, like, on Twitter and things of that nature, where it's just like, when you're focusing on you, like, it will shine through.
Absolutely. I think the people around us that are glowing the most are people that have shifted their behaviors into handling their own and taking care of their own. I think that's when you're the most beautiful, when you're loving on yourself. And even with the bad days, when we take care of ourselves and really, really focus on ourselves, I mean, it's noticeable. People see it, and people are just like, something's new about you, and it's like, I'm not worried about nobody but me right now. So, or I'm just making sure that I'm taking care of people, but I'm taking care of myself too, and not getting lost in the sauce of everything else that's going on. So, just living is already hard. So,
girl,
honestly, we're on a rock paying bills.
We shouldn't be doing that. We should be living our best life.
I'm also not retiring in my 60s. Like, if I'm retiring a lot earlier than that. I'm not living this life. I'm not living. There are people that are retiring from where I work, and I'm just like, I'm happy for you. These years, many years you have left of living, like, live it up. But I am not waiting until I'm in my 60s. I just have to throw that out there. I don't know why it just came to mind, but no. I need to be out here flourishing younger and living freely. And maybe I'm working, but I'm not working for a person. I'm working for myself.
So you just speaking into existence what you want, specifically, minutes before when you're like, sometimes I don't know my purpose, I don't know what's going on. You're already speaking it into existence right now.
I mean, I'm gonna be my own boss. What I'm doing, I don't know yet, but I'm going to be I absolutely know that.
That's already a path forward.
Because where I'm like what I do for work, sometimes I'd be there and just like, let me just get this check. But I just know
you're meant for more.
Absolutely. So are you. And right now, we're just going to take care of ourselves until we get there.
Yes, and I think that another point to what you're saying, and like being hard on yourself because you don't know where you want to go, and or learning to take a breather. Like, again, it's taking that moment where it's just like, you may not feel that you're moving fast enough, you may not feel that you're working hard enough, but this space, this time, this break is here on purpose. So it's just like, yes, I can be, as the Virgo in you, be doing 103 things. I can be perfecting things that I'm doing, but like, if this space is here, like I've definitely said this before on this podcast, but there is this amazing human being that I love so much. Her name is Carolyn Jackson, who used to be a former co-worker. And there's one thing that she says that I will never, ever, ever forget. And she said, if the energy is not there for it, listen to it. If you have the energy to do it, do it. If you don't have the energy to do it, don't do it. Because most of the time, that is there for a reason. And so like, she's shown me where it's like, her saying like just working, she didn't have the energy to finish a task that was due. And it's like 20 minutes later, she finds out that the task actually got canceled. And it's just like, don't be hard on yourself, and really listen to yourself, because if the energy is there, then yes, run with it. But if the energy is not there, it's not there for a reason.
Right. Agreed. But yeah, we strong as hell, girl.
Yes, we are.
We are strong,
even
beautiful goddesses.
We need reminders sometime.
Absolutely. So I guess from this whole conversation, to kind of sliver through conversations for the soul and make our way out, if you were to give advice on, I'm in the space where I'm not the most confident, I don't feel like I have the strength, what are things you do to help you kind of push forward and push through that?
Things that help me are affirmations. I have a deck of affirmations that if you follow me on Twitter, I pull a card every single morning, and it's just a reminder of something that we should be paying attention to. So like, if I am down, I definitely pull a card from the affirmation deck to just remind me of the abundance that I do have. Another thing that I definitely do is music. Music definitely helps me. I feel like upbeat music, salsa, like I know, just the same way that you know your worth, I know what makes me happy, and I know what can bring joy for me. And I love dancing. I'm not a dancer, but I love dancing. So if you put on some salsa, merengue, bachata, that will lift up my spirits. And in lifting my spirits, remind me of like, girl, you good. And so like music, dancing, pulling a card, journaling.
Journaling, yeah.
Journaling, I think, is my number one, because I feel like in journaling, one thing that I like to do is put pen to paper without being hard on myself on what to write. And so I do that where it's like, okay, I'm gonna put the timer for 5 minutes and I'm putting pen to paper, but I'm just putting pen to paper. I'm not picking it up, and whatever gets done, gets done. And like, I think about it in the sense of like, I can be writing my name for 5 minutes, but within those 5 minutes, something else might come up that will allow me to like further listen to my subconscious trying to speak to me. So.
Those are good tips.
Yeah.
For me, it's surrounding myself with beautiful imagery that reflects what I'm trying to also feel. So for me, I think in this age of social media and Instagram going so hard on being this perfect place that's just so unrealistic, is surrounding myself with imagery that I want to see. So like, I went through a point where I just removed a bunch of people from Instagram that I'm just like are not serving any purpose into my life, and follow a bunch of arts, fashion, Black women, quote pages that like when I'm on my Instagram and I'm scrolling through, I'm not seeing negativity, unless it's like news and that happens, but like I'm not surrounded by all this negativity. I'm just seeing beauty. I'm seeing happy, positive quotes. I'm seeing motivation. And I think that a lot of us having the habit of just having to pick up our phone sometimes. I want to be able to click into a space and not automatically see something negative.
Yeah.
So like surrounding myself with certain imagery that just uplifts me. So removing things, like you might follow people and feel like a loyalty to certain influencers or whatever that you follow, but you know, after a certain time, it's like their life is really not what I need to see right now. I'm just gonna follow things I want to see. I want to follow business pages and seeing people working their asses off and how they're doing their thing. Follow and support people that I know and love that are pushing forward and are doing certain things for themselves. Like just looking at things that are fitted to where I'm trying to go, and how I'm trying to feel. So for me, is making sure I'm filtering out things I don't need and capturing things that I really want to motivate me and make me feel better. And knowing that like if I'm in this really bad space, even Instagram won't help that, because it's just
sometimes it doesn't. Just
walking away from all of that and just staying away from it. And journaling is definitely a good one. I got an agenda that's kind of like a journal, so like that agenda has positive quotes in there, and just being able to organize things I need to get done. It's the Virgo in me, but having things listed out in a sense makes me feel a lot more accomplished, that I have written out like these are things I really need to get done. And then even with that thing, that agenda, it has like a spot saying, what am I grateful for today? What made me happy today? And I do fill those in, because those are just reminders of what happened randomly today that made me feel happy. So like just talked on the phone with an insurance, and the guy was like, you have a beautiful voice, like wrote that down, because it was just like a random like
nugget.
You have a nice voice yourself, sir. Like I didn't tell him that, but I thought it. But just things like that, like I go through my journal and I write it down. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this happened, like help me, motivate me, make me feel better. I think acknowledging and sitting in the little things that happen that we take for granted a lot, because we're thinking of this bigger picture of things we have to do or want. So just being and sitting in the small spaces and really thinking about like just certain people and things in your life that just bring you joy. That joy brings you strength. So for me, it's just really surrounding yourself with what you want and envision for yourself, that brings you that positivity, will naturally bring you into this confidence and joy and strength. That's how I go about it. So,
as you were speaking, the word that kept popping into my head is present. Being present, because it's like you just acknowledging that young man or seasoned man talking to you on the phone saying, you know, you have a beautiful voice. You are being present in that moment to acknowledge that, rather than like, I need to get off the phone, I'll see you later.
Yeah, it's like you snap back into this reality of being like, you're still living, you're still a person, you're still trying to, you know, do all these things, but then you're interacting with other people and noticing that like these interactions really do help in a sense, and that like it's just the little things. It's the random ladybug or the random little sparkle of sunshine or just the random quote you see, things like that. Just like putting them in place, like people make jokes. I saw this meme about how this guy's alarm on his phone.
Yes, I
it's
saw
like
that.
1111, 111, 1212, 333.
444.
So he put the alarms on his phone, and he was like, and it's basically like, I'm gonna make sure when I like
that she
thinks we're meant to be, because he's gonna make sure he hits her up at these times. Like every time you hit her up at 1111, 333, 444, she's gonna automatically think this was meant to be. But I feel like people make jokes on that all the time, because like we do see 1111s in these powerful numbers, right? And people make jokes on that all the time, but purposely placing them in front of you are also not a bad thing.
Not at all.
I think purposely placing it is also another source of motivation. It's another source of being like, I know what the 1111 means, so I need this in my life.
What does 1111 mean?
The universe is listening to you and is asking you to speak out what you really want from them. And in a sense, it's like, okay, I might be randomly seeing 1111. Let me put these positive affirmations out there. So I'm actually asking for what I really want and need to receive.
Speaking it into existence.
But also knowing that if I purposely set my alarm at 11:11, it's because I'm acknowledging that I'm setting time to say my affirmations. It's not because I need to randomly say it, but this also needs to be intent in improving yourself. And doing things for yourself. So if falling into this category of this whimsical time thing or this number things
will help you,
then set that alarm. It's 11:11. This is my specific time now to do my affirmations. So not feeling like the world is so woo-woo and all these spiritual things are so like, overdone, but knowing that you can strategically place things in your life that are meant to do better. There's nothing wrong with saying at this point, I'm just going to purposely place this in front of me because it's going to motivate me in this way.
Yeah. And I completely agree with that, with the crystals, stones, and the tarot cards, because it's just like, yes, people have these, theories of like, why are you paying attention to this or why are you doing that? But it's just like, in putting a specific stone that is about something, you're putting that intention in your head and you're saying, okay, I want to be able to clear my mind and be able to refresh and be able to focus in ways that I haven't been able to focus. Obviously, if you have that in front of you, you're able to remind yourself and to create that habit of like, hey, every time I look at it, I'm like, okay, remember, Iris, this is what I want to do. Remember, Iris, this is what I want to do, rather than like, I don't know, but just, these are the tools that are helping you to create the habits that you actually want to instill in for yourself.
Exactly. And if I have to put 11:11 on my alarm just to tell me to speak positively, then I'll do it. Because, we as people can easily fall into the negative, and maybe I do need that reminder for a while to shift my mentality to kind of fall into this habit of being like positivity, positive affirmations, and bringing that into becoming a normal habit.
Yeah.
So
it was interesting because I actually received a text message from my ex, and he was just like, why? I don't understand why you're so positive. And he was just like, I don't understand, blah, blah, blah.
Maybe because you ain't my life no more.
and then we went into details about like things that he's been working on. And he was just like, I've been working on this and I've been working on that and I've been working on this and I've been doing this and this. And he goes, and every single time it reminds me of you. And I was just like, oh, I wonder why. And he's just like, and literally I was just like, basically what you're telling me is that you had the tools in your hand the whole entire time. And then he goes, yeah, I just wasn't paying attention. But it's just like, some of these things may seem whimsical, but at the end of the day, if it's gonna get you to a healthier place, let it be.
Right. That's it. And that's conversations from the soul. Genuinely.
Yes.
We went from strength to strength. I feel like from it all is just realizing the work that we constantly have to do to maintain ourselves and our sanity. And with that brings forth, and just the honesty of accepting that this work has to be done is strength.
Yes.
So.
Yes, actually, yes. Because we are definitely, I feel like me having that conversation with him brought me so much joy, because ultimately what he told me is that he was finally on the path to evolving and developing himself to the true person that he is meant to be. And so like me hearing that was just like, you are literally finally on the path of like
working on yourself and improving yourself.
Exactly.
And can nobody be mad at that.
Exactly.
So send him a text tomorrow at 11:11.
But with that being said, I think that the best question that you brought up that I think that we can continue to follow up with you guys is what is it that you use? What type of habits, what type of mechanisms, what type of things do you do to continue to work on and fuel your strength and your self-confidence?
And also being aware, what are you constantly being around that is making you lose that confidence and making you feel negative? And maybe it's time to put in something into place and say, this is constantly bringing this negativity. It's time to really decide if this belongs in my life. So acknowledging both ends, like you can bring all the best things into your life, but if that negative thing still hovers around, it's still going to bring that negativity to you. So it's also acknowledging that like every time I'm in this space, every time I see this image, every time I'm on this app, I get into this dark place. Maybe it's time to reconsider that for you.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's important. I like that a lot. Yeah.
And now from Conversation from the Soul,
that was from Conversations from the Soul
and Stepping into You.
Yeah, this was Stepping into You.
And did you want to break that? You broke down the other ones before. So if you are a new listener or just kind of coming back around, I saw you doing that, so let me follow suit. And coming and just like revisiting us, Stepping into You is a place where Eerees brings us to step into ourselves and brings up a question where we really need to reflect on ourselves and how to work on things we maybe don't take the time to work on, or acknowledge things that maybe we put aside because of this busy world, but really stepping into ourselves, stepping into this place and reflecting on this question on how we can be better, do better for ourselves. So
thank you. That was beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
And then from Stepping into You, we go to Fashion Forward.
So for Fashion Forward, I didn't bring anything like a specific brand or anything, but I just want us to really acknowledge that buying black still really exists, and we want to keep doing that and keep supporting and keep pushing, and also buying locally and really supporting the brands that are out here. I don't want it to be a fad. I don't want it to be something where it's like we've been there, done that, and we need another event to happen for us to be like, now we need to be motivated again to support each other, support black people or black businesses, but really keeping it going and keeping it pushing, and also acknowledging that like these brands bringing you to the black corner of their brand or their website, you might have to second guess and look at them. Like there's brands I've gone to and it's like, here's our little section of black designers, and it's like, why don't you highlight in general people, but we have to like put us into this box and say, well, here's where you can go if you're trying to buy black, but emphasizing that in general this is a routine or something we always want to do. So buying black is not just a little gimmick like, let me press this button because today I feel like buying black.
Check.
But like really keeping it moving, keeping it going, and really supporting these businesses. We're not just buying black because we want to feel good that we bought black, but we're supporting actual people and businesses that are trying to keep going, keep moving. So just keeping that going, and also really looking into the businesses you buy from sometimes. And some people say they're black and they're not always black because they just want your coin. So really acknowledging where you're purchasing from. And honestly, if you can't figure it out, go local. This is the most honest way you can figure out who's who. Really. So that's Fashion Forward. And you can go ahead. You've been pointing this whole time, so you better start quoting what you've been pointing.
We can start here.
Well, behind us.
Behind us are local artist Jamal Bonnet. He's been doing artwork, poetry, and selling glasses, customized glasses. And then our lovely sponsor, Beads by Troken, Czar Freeman, who has been doing a beautiful job of making his mark on Brockton. And further, yes. On making one-of-one beads, and really configuring what does luxury beads look like, and allowing beads to be a part of the luxury
world.
Yeah.
When it comes to
basically.
Yeah. And then just also shouting out that we actually were featured on his second YouTube episode where he customized one pieces for us. So we will also post that so you guys can go and watch that. It's actually a really great video. It was a fun time. And it was really nice to have something created for us that was like really, really nice. Like they're my favorite earrings ever. I'm telling y'all.
And my favorite.
When I want to feel good and when I want to feel strong, y'all, those earrings, I'm just saying.
And then we have the lovely Hija de tu Madre cups that were beautifully gifted to us that just came in today. And then what else are we wearing or there's books here that are by Dominican, Cape Verdean, Dominican, and locally the Brooklyn Museum did this amazing exhibition, and a lot of the times exhibitions do like a lookbook, and I think this might be my favorite lookbook of all time, but it is called We Wanted a Revolution, Black Radical Woman, and this was an exhibition that I loved, and I loved it so much that I got the book. And then yeah, we're out here local,
keeping
Black.
it moving, and these are still people out here really still running these businesses, so it's not a fad. It's not the popular thing of the past. We can't keep allowing for Black people to be murdered to want to support Black people. It's just ultimately then what is your intention behind it if that's what you're doing. So from fashion forward, we go into what's resonating with Chi. And for me, the only thing that's been resonating is I started watching The Circle season 2 on Netflix.
Same.
And this season is juicy.
It's
I'm gonna
ridiculous.
say my two favorite people are the two people that don't really get along. So it's kind of sad. Did you catch up? Because I really wanted to.
I haven't. I'm sorry.
I'm still gonna.
No, go ahead. I'm still gonna watch it.
Okay. So Terralisha and Courtney, my top two, but
they're not friends anymore.
they was never friends.
That's true.
Maybe they'll become friends. I feel like if they were friends, they would take down everyone else.
Oh, I'm telling you, like, I was watching the show with a friend, and I kid you not, we were both agreeing that, like, Courtney is the most strategic one in that space, because, like, just me, I think they were panning around the room, and he had a whole, like, investigation, you know, everybody's name, and it had, like, things to, I was just like, come on now, you're gonna tell me that he didn't put thought into what he's doing right now?
I mean, but he's a journalist for, like, kind of, I don't want to be wrong, so his entertainment journalist, yeah. So, like, his job is to look into things and research, because he is a journalist, so he's putting that into play, but his personality is lit. He's a party. Like, I want to be friends with him. I just feel like these two just started off really wrong, and I hope they fix it. Because, like, I would want to go into a room that they're both also in and not hating each other. Like, I want to be in the middle of this sandwich. So, that's it. I'm watching The Circle, and probably next episode, I'll talk about them again on Resonating with She, but I'm enjoying it. And then I was watching it with my boo, and I was just like, we're watching this, now he's into it, and I'm like, do you see how she did that? Let me tell you, like, that was sneaky because of this. I'm like, I don't know if she's staying, but this is because of this, and you got that, you right. I'm like, look at that, like, that was kind of, like, the whole time I'm depicting these people, I'm like, ooh, these people so sneaky, but they're trying to win $100,000, so.
Listen, the money.
Oh, seriously. But yeah, that's what's resonating with me. What is resonating with you?
What is resonating with me? The first thing that popped into my head was the joy. Mm-hmm. I am still very excited very happy because last week, my little brother, so I have two brothers that I live with, that I grew up with, that I was raised with. Edward and Carlos. Edward is the older one and Carlos is the youngest, but I'm the oldest. And Carlos, there was a point in time that we were like besties. He would come to me for everything. We would sleep together. Like we'd be in the same bed, and ever since we were little, like he would come to my room because him and my brother would always fight so much that like even though they shared a room, he was always in my room. But point is, teenage years came up and he was just like, fuck y'all, like, you know, I don't need y'all, you know, the teenagers where it's just like, I don't need nobody, like I'm good,
yeah.
You know, I just got my friends and blah, blah, blah. And so then I went from like the best sister in the whole wide world to like, get the fuck out my face. But point is, he ended up hitting me up last week and he was just like, hey, do you want to make dinner? And I was just like, yes. Yes. And literally dropped everything and was just like, yeah, let's make dinner. Yeah, you know, let's make dinner. Cool. You know, I got time. But point is, we ended up having dinner and I was like, you obviously want to have dinner for a reason. So like, what's really going on? And he was just like, I've really been thinking and I want to manifest and I really want to like, figure things out. And I was just like, so you came to me for that? And he was just like, yeah, I just want to work on like what I want to do with myself, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, so you called me? So it's just like, I'm definitely still overwhelmedly happy that like, when he thought about like improving, working on himself, he came to me.
Aww.
Yeah.
Hey.
So I'm still happy about that.
That's sweet. So I guess, on that note, that's it for today's episode.
Yes.
And as always, like we started it off and we're ending it off, I am Daphne Emily.
And I'm Eerees Iris.
And we are Soulful She.
And I usually end the episode by saying, he can listen, they can listen, but she is speaking.
And we might be one more drop in the ocean, but we just might be that last sip to quench your thirst.